Pete, over to Manchester City. Do you think that they may bring in Douglas Luiz and have him return to the Etihad this January? Even though they've already done all these deals, it doesn't look like they're done. Potentially a transfer ban looming if the 115 charges case doesn't go their way. It looks like they're looking to spend. Could Douglas Luiz be, kind of that Rodri replacement for now and then maybe long-term successor?
He could be a stopgap option to replace Rodri in that midfield. I don't think he's the long-term answer. Obviously, City will know all about Douglas Luiz. He used to be at the club. I think he joined them in 2017 without playing a game for them due to work permit issues and before moving on to Aston Villa. At Villa, he showed he's a real top Premier League midfielder. I thought he's one of Villa's best players last season, helping them finish in the top four as well. Obviously, they had to sell him to sort of help settle PSR matters when he moved to Juventus in the summer for around £40 million. The move hasn't really worked out for the Brazilian. He's not really featured under Thiago Motta, and I think Juve would be open to him leaving. I think they'd probably prefer to sell him if they could, but maybe alone with an obligation. I think there's probably other clubs ahead of Man City if Douglas Luiz is to return to the Premier League. There's been talk that Chelsea are interested in the Brazil international, also Nottingham Forest potentially, and even Newcastle. So although City have been splashing the cash, well over £100 million on Marmoush, Kusanov and Victor Reis, I don't think they will probably go ahead with a signing for midfield. I think probably that'll be it for City, unless it's on their terms and it's a loan deal, maybe with no obligation to sign him. But I think there might be other teams ahead of City in this race for Douglas Luiz, and I think the player himself obviously will be keen on a move back to the Premier League, as the move to Italy hasn't worked out for him at all.
And Paul, are you surprised Manchester City have made all these signings but haven't made a signing in midfield to kind of, be that stopgap for Rodri being out this season?
Well, that's one that we've all talked about, isn't it? I mean, how one player can have such an impact and be so influential on a team. We're seeing that. But yeah, listen, Pep's made his case by playing the teams, that the players that he has. He's shown the board, the ownership of what's needed, and they've backed him with investment, and they've backed him heavily. I think this is the biggest that we've seen Manchester City go in January en masse, and I don't think they're finished. I think they're making statements, they're making some big signings. Obviously the biggest one, Erling Haaland, and actually it was pointed out to me last week, you'll like this, 9.5-year contract, exactly 115 months. 115 charges, 115 months. Wonder if there's anything in that.
I've got another one for you as well. It's been 115 games since City threw away a 2-goal lead, which they did against PSG.
Well, there you go. It's all about the 115s.
It is in the 115s.
Writings on the wall.
Maybe that's a sign.
And Pete, we have talked about Joshua Kimmich a lot in the last year or so as his contract starts to run down at Bayern Munich. He now just has 6 months left on it. Do you think Pep will try and lure him to Manchester City this summer as a versatile player? Obviously can fill in at that right back spot where Kyle Walker's on the way out. Obviously we know he can play pretty much anywhere in midfield. Is that the kind of deal that you think City could attack this summer?
I'm sure it's something they will be exploring if there's any possibility that Kimmich could leave Bayern Munich. Top player, as you said, midfield, can play at right back as well, proven winner, and he's obviously worked with Pep before as well when he was in charge of Bayern Munich, so he will be well aware of him as well. Obviously Kimmich is into the final 6 months of his contract at the Allianz Arena, and he is taking his time to make a decision, which probably has surprised a lot of people. I think most people probably would have expected him to have signed a new deal at Bayern Munich by now, but now it looks like Alphonso Davies is going to sign a new deal at Bayern, and also Musiala close to a new contract. I think Kimmich himself will follow suit and probably sign a new contract as well. It seems his first choice will be to stay at Bayern Munich. His family are settled in Germany as well. So although Man City, I'm sure, would be very much interested in Kimmich, I don't see the player leaving Germany anytime soon, and that'll be good news for Bayern Munich and disappointing news for any of his Premier League suitors, really.